Okay, we're going to talk about diatonic chord values within a major scale. I'll be using the key of C, and the diatonic chord values are going to be just taking a 3-note chord and moving it straight up my major scale. I end up playing 3 majors, 3 minors, and a diminished. I'll show you how. Major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, and then I'm back to my root note, my major again. So within the key of C, just simply by using the single root note of my major scale and building a tritone chord, I have 3 majors, 3 minors, and 1 diminished chord. The majors are going to be your 1, your 4, and your 5. Your minors are going to be your 2, your 3, and your 6. And your 7 is going to be diminished. One thing you can do to the 7 that is fairly common is you'll use a dominant 7 tone. Instead of using your B, you'd use a B flat. What that does for you is that puts in one more major chord within that scale that's a little more usable than the diminished chord for a lot of applications. But for right now, we're going to stick with the diatonic. One useful exercise to kind of start to understand how you can use a different bass note over a chord, or under a chord rather, is you can use your major scale with your left hand and pick either the 3 majors or the 3 minor chords to choose from to start with. So we're going to say, let's use our 1. I'm going to use an inverted 4, so that's my F chord. Here's back to my 1, my C chord. And my 5, I'm going to use my G, like that. I'm only going to use those 3 chords, but I'll play every note of the scale here. So the 1, the 4, and the 5 have every note of the scale somewhere within those chords. And by doing that, trying to figure out which note best fits which chord as far as bass note versus chord, you can do a lot of things. That's how you can start really understanding how you could play like an E in the bass with a C chord, because that C chord already has that E in it. Or for instance, the B. Where would the B be? Well, instead of grabbing that diminished chord, you'd grab your G chord because a G has the B in it. But at that point, you're playing a G chord over a B note. You can do the exact same thing with the minors. If you pick your 2, your 3, and your 6, you can play just those 3 chords and every note down here and do the exact same thing. So right there, just starting on D and using my 3 minor keys within the key of C, you can also do the exact same thing using your minor chords. It's just a very handy little tip, something to practice with to really get the idea of what bass notes could work very well with just sticking with a 1, 4, and 5. It's also very important to understand your diatonic chords, just because if you're trying to communicate with another musician across a stage, for instance, and they're calling out numbers, well, they're going to be talking about those chords. That's what the numbers are. So they'll say, you know, hey, we're going to play a 1, 6, 4, 5 in the key of C. So we'll say, all right, well, my 1, 6, 4, 5 in the key of C is going to end up being, my 1 is going to be major, my 6 is going to be minor, my 4 is going to be major, my 5 is going to be major. And I know that because diatonically speaking, those are those keys. So my 1 is C, my 6 is A minor, my 4 would be F, my 5 would be G. So you could do 1, 6, 4, 5. Or let's say they called across the stage, we're going to do a 1, 6, 2, 5. Same thing, I could go, okay, well, my 1 is major, my 6 is minor, my 2 is minor, and my 5 is major. Major, minor, here's my 2, minor, 5. 1, 6, 2, 5. It's just a handy thing to really understand how your diatonic chords fit in with your major scale.